Hey, hi everyone. Welcome back. So it always takes me just a few minutes to check everything. Let's see here. All right, welcome. It is Wind Down Wednesday. Once again with Michelle, expat like Mexico, Casa ELM. I hope you all are having a good week. Hold on a second. I'm just trying to get everything set up so I can see everything right here in front of me. So, because there's always there's a little mini delay for those who don't know. Let's see. Okay. All right. So welcome back. It's Wind Down Wednesday. I will wait a few minutes for some folks to come on. If you can hear me, just shoot me a quick message. I just always want to make sure that there's clear audio. As we do every week, let us know where you are, where you're coming from. Hopefully you got the connects on the time change. We're on now at 6 Mountain Time, as everyone says, or 6 Mexico time. I just say Mexico time. So you can look it up, like what time is it in Mexico? So then you'll know you're going to be joining us at 6 our time, depending on where you are. For those who don't know, we did not do daylight savings in Mexico this year. Mexico decided not to have daylight savings, but I think it's just been confusing because in the past, what has happened is we had daylight savings, but maybe 1 or 2 weeks after. So if you all changed, say on the East Coast in the United States, then we would have like a few weeks of being a two hours of a gap. And then after that, we would catch up to the 1 hour, right? Because that's what we're used to. And as Brianna said to me several times, whoever decided to not have the change needs a whopping. Anyway, I hope you can hear me. If you can't, just drop something in the chat. What is everyone drinking today? I'm sticking with my Sauvignon Blanc. Same. This isn't. Hi Kim, how are you? Welcome. My Concho y Toro, clearly finished. This was the last glass. Someone made an observation to me last week. We had our women's retreat, which was amazing. Piece, not pieces. It was beautiful. It was such a beautiful time. Anyway, they were saying that I need to stop and actually have a drink because I usually am talking and talking and talking. So tonight I'll try to take a few sips, and I also have my water here with me. So how's everyone doing? I hope you all are having a good week. I hope life is treating you well, or at least life is in balance for you, you know. Last week, I'll talk a little bit about our Peace Not Pieces retreat. We had a couple amazing women that came from the US and some that live here. And we had our amazing facilitators that really made the week so special. We had Kate Van Doren, who did the Healing Words Project. We did a lot of art therapy, a lot of self-care, a lot of reclaiming things for ourselves. And it was just amazing. I'm so grateful that I was able to have this. I've been wanting to do a women's retreat for over almost 5 years or so. And so it happened. We do have one coming up in September. If you want more information, you can go to casaelm.com to find out the exact dates. I think we have 2 spaces left. Yeah, we already have people who signed up for September. So if you're interested, please go there and you can get all the details and things like that about it. But it was a beautiful week. We bonded and we talked a lot and we did a lot of self-care things. And we spent nights up drinking some wine and chatting. You know, the last night on Friday, we were up until like 11:30, just talking. We danced, we went out. It was amazing. So just showing and sharing. Yes, September. Hi, Monica. Welcome. Yes, September. Hi, Gilda. Welcome. Welcome, Monica. Thank you so much. Thank you. I decided to put my purple lips on today. Yeah, it's funny because during the week I don't always get to do makeup, I guess, because I'm usually on the run. But yeah, today I got a little makeup on. It was amazing. Hi, Yolanda. Yolanda was at our retreat. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. She's so beautiful. I miss you. I really miss you. I miss you all. I miss Shalisa. She had another Shalisa-ism for us. For me, I should say, in an email. She'll have to share that with you. It was pretty funny. This morning I got her email. But anyway, we had a beautiful week and it was just really nice to spend that time. So if you want more information about it, feel free to go to casaelm.com to find it, or you could go to thejourneyretreat.com and you'll see the next dates in September. I'm sorry, I don't know them off the top of my head. I believe it's mid-September. And, you know, I miss you. I have been directed by my very many staff of amazing women who help me to talk more about the things that we have coming. So just to reiterate, we do relocation tours. We offer people the opportunity to really have a hands-on experience here in San Miguel. They get to meet with local realtors. They get to meet with neighborhood people who give neighborhood tours. What else? People who talk about medical insurance and life insurance and auto, home, anything like that. The guy who does our neighborhood tours, he literally brings you around the city. They get to connect with an actual city tour guide and they get a tour. We all get to hang out together and get to spend time knowing each other better. We go to do like a vineyard type experience or something like that. And we do a welcome meal. We do a farewell meal. So it's a full week of information if you're interested in moving or just seeing what is San Miguel all about. It's a great experience. It's a very small group. And you get all these resources and you get to connect with the local community of people who can help you on that journey as well to the next thing, if you plan on moving abroad. If you're not sure, we also offer a lot of other experiences. You can do a couple days in San Miguel, like 3 to 5 days experiences. And with those, you can customize it, or you could just come and say, you know what, I'm not sure, maybe I'll do a hot air balloon ride. Maybe I just want to go to La Gruta. Maybe I want a horseback ride. So there's a lot to see and do in San Miguel. And oftentimes people come and they fall in love with it and then they come back, for a tour later on. It just depends. So, and I'm assuming you all are here because, you're interested in San Miguel and Mexico as a whole. And I'm very happy to give you that information. So I'm excited to continue connecting with you all. So, I don't, how do I say this? I am excited to share my life in Mexico and everything that I'm doing here. And I really hope that I'm able to help inspire anyone who's interested, or even motivate anyone who's interested in moving. And maybe you just don't know how to do it, don't know where to start. So, if that's the case, book a relocation tour or a strategy session. That's a 1 hour, 1.5 hour time with me. And we can talk about your specific journey. And all of that information can be found on casaelm.com or expatlifemexico.com. Okay. So that's my PSA announcement for today. Let's see. Thank you, Yolanda. Yes, it was a great time. It was a great time. And I really appreciate everyone who came out to support. I love hanging out with all of you women. I've had such amazing women that I've gotten to connect with here. So I'm super, super grateful to have that sisterhood. I say it all the time. You know, I lived in Florida for a long time and I had friends, but they were like party friends, you know, they were fun. You know, a lot of them were Cubanos, and it was a different time and chapter in my life. But when I left, I didn't have like a lot of, you know, roots there in this regard. But being here, it's been such a different vibe, connecting with so many amazing women and just kind of getting to know them and being able to hold space for them in Casa ELM. And, you know, just realizing like we all kind of need each other in this regard. We need to continue to uplift and support each other. Okay. Nothing against the guys. I'm just saying that it's been a really beautiful journey with these beautiful people that I keep getting to meet, and we keep building community. So welcome. Stacy is my girl. Travel with Stacy. She is the new manager. We miss Brianna, but we're happy for Brianna to get to travel. I know she'll be back. She's still working with me. For those who have met her, she is, you know, moving on to other chapters in her life, but she's still going to be working with me virtually. And Stacy is our new beautiful, Travel with Stacy is our new beautiful woman who will be in the house helping me out. She's doing a great job helping me hold those forts down. So I appreciate you. Welcome, Diane. Hi, how are you? Welcome, Lorraine. I hope all is well. Welcome, Jackie. Maryland Sisters, I love it. So today, our topic is, and I have my phone, so if you think I'm just looking down at Texas, I'm not. I have my notes here. Today, we're just going to talk a little bit about when you move abroad and, you know, what some of the homesick things that come up. And maybe, you know, like, for example, I feel like I'm speaking again. I always speak from my perspective. I feel like, you know, we get excited. If you're adventurous, you know, it's like, oh, I booked my trip. Okay, I'm doing this. Or I'm moving. Moving abroad is different, clearly, than taking a trip. But there's still like that sense of adventure, that excitement, the things that are scary sometimes for us. We don't know what's going to happen, you know. However, there are moments when it's like suddenly you can be homesick. I remember the first time I felt like an extreme, overwhelming homesickness. And maybe because I started, you know, at a younger age. But when I went off to college, it was tough. I remember thinking like I was so ready to move to this new situation. I went to the University of Georgia for, you know, school year. And, you know, I had traveled a little bit. I thought I was so grown. Anyway, the long story short of that is that was kind of one of the times when I remember feeling, because it was my first time kind of really moving away from home, not just traveling. And I just had this overwhelming like feeling of like, I don't know, I don't fit in. I don't, you know, I'm not at the same age because I started college a little late. Well, I did that part of college a little bit later. So in saying that, I do think that we all experience some form of this, especially when things can be hard to understand, things that are overwhelming, things that, you know, it's like, oh, this was easier when I was back home. This was easier for me to do or handle or whatever the case might be. And, you know, it's kind of one of those situations where I think we have to be ready for those anxieties, right? We have to be ready for those emotions. We have to be ready to figure out, well, how do I recognize them and how do I combat it, right? Because you don't want to move here and be depressed, right? And I think also you don't want to move here expecting oh, I'm just going to come and all my family and my friends are going to come too. And I can tell you the majority of them won't visit. They might visit. They probably won't come when you think they're going to come. I always tell people, this is a little side note, don't get a house based on your visitors, right? Don't rent, like, if you're one person, don't rent 3 bedrooms. I mean, I should say don't. Do whatever you want, right? But if you're doing it because you're renting for someone to come and stay, year round, or people coming and going, it's probably not going to happen that way. I always tell people you're better off getting an Airbnb, all of you clamoring into that space when you have your visitors, and it's like a one-time deal as opposed to paying a lot of money every month and waiting for someone to show up at your doorstep. So, things such as, what we're used to can create that feeling of being homesick. I know for myself and others, we've talked about this a lot and we make jokes about it. Even though we love living here, we still have like those feelings of like certain foods that we're used to. Sometimes people will say, man, I just wish, I know for myself, I'm like, man, I wish I could just buy myself a beef patty, Jamaican patty and a cocoa bread. I wish I could get some ackee and saltfish somewhere, some Jamaican dish. I even really miss good Thai food. I haven't found that here. I'm sure they have places in Mexico City and bigger places, but not here in San Miguel. I miss good Chinese food, tasty, certain things. I'm sure a lot of people here miss soul food. I every now and then see someone asking about ethnic food, Caribbean or African or whatever. There's certain things we miss, kind of like these experiences that we may be used to having with that unit, that family unit or that group, right? So I think that it's just one of those things that happens. And why I always say, for me, San Miguel is a soft landing, is because there are so many people here ready to hug you into San Miguel. Like, and I say, probably literally, but ready to welcome you and, make you feel at home and things like that. But, there's still things we miss. I miss having access to a stylist, I miss having access to the products that I want to buy. I mean, as much as I used to be so thoroughly annoyed going to one of the hair shops in the United States, because it was just like so much stuff, like where do I go, what aisle? But I do miss having those things, right? And I think sometimes if it feels like it's overwhelming in other aspects, sometimes it depends on how you process. That could create that feeling of homesick. I'm here. I have new friends. It could even be maybe you don't feel welcomed in a circle or something. Hopefully that doesn't happen. You tell me, and I'll have at them. I'm just kidding. But maybe you don't feel welcome somehow, and you have this feeling of overwhelm. But I think it's important to, always keep in mind that you have to just be fully open to every part of the new experience, the new chapter. So I wanted to talk about that just a little bit. I know a lot of you are aspiring to, move abroad or have already been here or planning to come. I wanted to, let's see, Gilda, I'll try to make some oxtails in May. I made some on the weekend. I was supposed to cook on Friday. Sorry, I know you'll, and Shalisa and a couple of the ladies. I did cook. Okay, so, and I'll get back to what I was saying, but I did cook on Thursday morning. I made shrimp and grits, right? Because I was talking about this. Even that, that's like a part of my notes as well, is just having access to, grits. And it's an ongoing, it's kind of a joke because when I lived in the US, I didn't eat it that much. I like it, but I didn't eat it that much. But it's sort of like one of those things like, okay, the beach is right there. When I lived in Florida, it's right there. I didn't go all the time, but now I don't have a beach. So I miss the beach. I miss that option, but not enough to go back. I just really am like, those are maybe some of the things. So yes, I'm going to try my best to make some oxtails. Okay. So hang tight, hang tight. Let's see. Yes, people will say, yeah, exactly. They'll say they're coming, they don't have a passport. Get your passport. So I have plenty of friends and family members who've been saying for a few years they're coming and they haven't because they have a passport, and I'm like, come on out. Like, so when I hear it and I'm like, okay, seriously, get the passport. That's the first step. You can't go anywhere without it, at least not abroad. I live in Boston, language. Okay, great. Welcome, Monica. So yes, come on over. We're down. Let me think. Logistics. I believe Mazatlan is down. I believe you would be coming down. I'm always trying to figure out the logistics. It's not a pressure. I will definitely try my best to make it happen in terms of food. I like to cook. I really do. And thank you, Yolanda. Yeah, the shrimp and grits, they were good to come out. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but they did come out really good. And I infused some Mexican chipotle peppers that were in the can. So you have like this kind of a little bit of a smoky chipotle taste with a little kick of spice, and I made like a cream sauce. Okay. Anyway, back to our topic. If anything else comes up, I will try my best to pop in there. That's right. Yes, Stacy, our community cooks in SMA. We have quite a few people who cooking and bringing their spices down. I know I brought my curries. There is one grocery store in Central. It's called Bonanza, and I believe they sell curries and things there and like a lot of ethnic spices. If you're here and you need something, that's a good place to check out. But I actually brought my own. I have my jerk sauces, my jerk powders, my oxtail seasonings, you name it. I brought my stuff. And I think you can get some of those things on amazon.com.mx, some, not all. So yeah, I think one of the things to help cope with being homesick is really creating the community that you want to have happen around you, but also staying in touch with the people that you love, right? I know for example, create a family group. If you don't have that already, I have two family groups. I have the Wedderburn clan on WhatsApp, and this is like, every person in our family that has the last name Wedderburn, and we have a phone number for them and we know who they are, they're in that group. And we sometimes send messages, we talk to each other about birthdays and what's happening, blah, blah, blah. We share things. A nephew graduates and gets a great job in New York, we share. And then I have my more intimate group with my two brothers in Connecticut on another platform, and we chat every day. And it's so nice because I'm so grateful that these things exist technology wise, because back in the 80s they didn't, because I feel so connected to them all the time, even though I'm here. Just silly things, we'll drop an audio message. My brother Bert, Albert, and then my brother Kevin, we're always like every day we check in with each other. We share our wins, our losses, our ups, our downs. I show them little quick silly videos, but it's like I feel like we're so connected to each other's day-to-day thing. One will say, man, I'm just exhausted today. It was a rough day. I had so much to do, blah, blah, blah. And then, we're like, keep your head up, it's all good, love you. A voice message, pictures of anything we might be doing, a trip or something like that. It really does help a lot to not feel so like separated. I know some people process things differently. For me, I'm okay being away from my family, but I've always been the glue. So this means a lot to me to have these little spaces where I can really continue to connect with my family. I call my mom every day. My dad sends me or calls me on, I think, FaceTime. Yeah, he's funny. My dad's hilarious. Excuse me. Um, he tries to work his phone and stuff, but he lives in Cali, and they're on like opposite ends of where I am. We form a perfect triangle. I'm down here in Mexico. My brothers and mom, they're up there in Connecticut, and my dad's over here in California, right? And then actually a diamond, the rest of my family is up north in Canada. So the point is even though in my head I'm always saying, you guys are right here, you're kind of close to Mexico, right? It's closer to fly to Mexico than it is for one of them to fly from Connecticut over to Cali and vice versa. I'm right down here in the middle. So I'm always trying to, encourage them to come and spend that time. So I see you all still talking about the food. Let's see. Glad to know I can bring. Yes, you can bring spices. You can't ship spices. Okay. You cannot ship spices and food in your shipping things if you use a shipping company. Okay. They will tell you, even if it's a dried thing or something in a can sealed up, they're going to tell you you can't do that. How they're digging in the boxes, I don't know. But I thought when I was moving here that I would be able to bring my spice dried things, because you can travel with dried things. And they were like, nope, no food, like absolutely zero food. And I had like one of those big Tupperware containers full of like curries and you name it, everything I thought I was going to need, dried stuff. And even canned things. I was just like, I want to bring my ackee. For those who don't know, ackee is a part of a special not Mexican, Jamaican cuisine, ackee and saltfish. You can look it up. And that's spelled Akee. They have the trees in Florida and they also have them in the islands. So I thought I could bring all these things, but I could not. So it was all good. I was just like, okay, put in my suitcase. So every time I go to the US, I just kind of stock up again on the things that I need. So just sharing that about the spices. You can bring it. You can bring it on the plane, put it in your suitcase. Yes, Jackie, welcome. Yes, definitely welcome to have dinner. Let's see. I have family across the globe, but we stay connected. Exactly. I think there are plenty of ways to stay connected. Even just, if let's say someone is having a graduation or something you can't go to, right? Like there is this, right? We're Zoom, YouTube, record, share later. You can make things private on your channel if you want. You can just share the link with the people you want. You can WhatsApp. There's so many ways to stay connected with friends and family back home. A lot of times I think we go off bopping around the world, doing our thing. And it's kind of, how do I say this? Because I've been traveling major traveling, like overseas traveling, wherever, since 1997 or 98. And I remember I would be like, oh my God, like this is so cool. And, I want to share. And it sometimes felt like unfair in some ways because my family had not had some of these experiences yet. And, I didn't want to sound like I was bragging. So I started to not share as much or talk about as many things because, I know that if someone hasn't been there, hasn't done that, maybe it just seems a little bit like, want. But at the same time, I know that we come off it, we go and we do our thing or whatever. We want our family to be a part of that. We want them to feel the way we feel, but you have to also recognize that if they haven't done it or they haven't been in the same shoes as you, that they're not going to have the same feelings necessarily. Doesn't mean they're not happy for you. I'm just saying it from the angle of, sometimes I think our adventures are like, okay, you got to see this, they're not always going to process it the same way. So I think sometimes that starts to create a little bit of separation, emotional separation, where, you wish it could be a little bit more where they knew or shared it with you if they're not with you, or they might be like, okay, I don't relate to that. You know what I'm saying? And then so that also can maybe be a feeling of, oh my gosh, I miss my family, doesn't feel the same way. But I think it's good to stay focused on the things that make you feel connected to them, like, hey, how's so-and-so doing? What did you guys do today? What did you eat? Things like that. Just having that like thought process of staying in touch, that I think helps a lot, keeping in touch with your friends. I have a couple very good friends. My best friend lives in New York. And even, we used to talk all the time, and I know as you get older, we're just busy, right? We're busy. We all have things to do. And I really miss them. And we used to live in Florida together, and I would go up to visit them in Orlando area from West Palm. I would drive up, you know, whenever, because I was homesick there, and I'm like, these are the closest people that I know. And every holiday, I would go and be like, okay, what are you guys doing for Thanksgiving? Come to my house, or I'll go to your house. And I miss that part, but I can say that being here in San Miguel, it's been really like nice. There's so many people that constantly invite to be a part of something. So I don't have like that same maybe strong feeling of separation. But I do have the separation feeling at times because, those are my way backs, my brothers, my mom, of course. I also think about my parents, getting older. Fortunately, my mom does come 1 or 2 times a year, and she stays for a few months. She's like the globe trotter now. So I'm grateful for her health. She's a very strong 80-plus-year-old. So yeah, it's just kind of one of those situations where I think that, there's a lot that we can do to stay in touch. Let's see. Oh, thank you so much. Thanks so much. I appreciate you. Gilda, how do you get important? Kim, how do you get important mail from the United States? I don't get any mail, but there are some companies that you can use like La Conexión, and you can find them on, if you do La Conexión SMA, San Miguel de Allende, you can find them. I think most companies, maybe not all, will allow you to receive things electronically. If there's, life insurance, you can sign up to get paperless billing, paperless information, and things like that. It depends on the company. I believe La Conexión actually has, what is it? Okay, yeah, there's Stacy with Traveling Mailbox. You can also sign up with, I think La Conexión has a service where you can get a PO box in Texas through them, and then once a week they deliver to San Miguel. So there's ways to do it, and then there's also, you can try electronically and save yourself that as well. So let's see. When I was little like that, I was smuggling mangoes. That's so funny. Thanks, Lorraine. Yeah, I know. My parents used to bring back Bammy, what is it, breadfruit and things. I think you can still bring breadfruit, but you have to cook it, fry fish, you name it. They would be whipping everything out on the plane, or even driving from the US to Canada. It was like food galore. My mom used to make she still does. She makes snapper. I don't know if who hasn't had a Jamaican prepared snapper, whole snapper. Some people aren't used to that because they keep the head on it. It's like a whole fish. So, but it's delicious. So it all depends. Yeah. But yeah, so let me know if you have more questions. for me. I'll keep looking. So let's see. One of the other things that we suggest is creating familiar experiences here, or I should say in your new place, right? If you like to have, like, I love having people over. I love to have people over to eat, right? If you love having people over for dinner, have them over, right? Have a lot of options for people to say, hey, we could do this every one Saturday out of the month, we're going to go here. I know that here in San Miguel, this is a very busy town, so much to do, even impromptu. So like last week on Tuesday, I went into Central with the ladies that were here for the retreat. And, I just wanted them to see the church and, to see it. I mean, it wasn't a relocation tour, but I was like, you can't, miss going into Central. And there's always full of surprises, just a lot of things happening. And we saw a few people that we knew, and they're like, oh, go over to this place because Sybil is singing. And I was like, oh, I haven't gotten a chance to meet Sybil. And I said, okay, let's go over, let's see. So we get over there, and there were other people there that we knew or that I knew, and we had so much fun. Sybil was so much fun. She was so entertaining. She was singing and dancing and the whole nine. Okay, we just enjoyed ourselves like immensely. Shalisa got out there. She was dancing to what was that? I forget. Was it James Brown? It was some walking the dog. It was just fun. That's right. Yolanda got out there. I got out there. Linda and Will, they were so kind. They bought us our drinks. We saw Danielle, who also sings, and we saw Jamaica, who's new to SMA. It was just a fun night. We did not plan it. The point is that a lot of things like this happen in new places, and we just don't always know what's gonna come our way. And I think just being open. So if you're home all the time and you're kind of like, I don't know if I want to go, I don't know if I want, just come outside the shell, come outside the box, and just go for it. We just had a blast, and a lot of things happened this way. I've had so many people that have invited me over, and we'll go from having drinks and talking to lunch. I remember one of my other friends, Naomi, she would invite me over, or all of us over to her place, or we'd start at lunch at 2 PM. And then next thing I know, it's midnight. And, we're at her house at like 7 o'clock, and we're still talking, and we're like buying more food and drinking and talking. So the point is, not just about the drinking part. The point is just kind of being, like open to creating these other social experiences in your new place. Understanding that it's not always going to feel, like, oh, this is reminding me exactly of home. No, you're in a new space. There's lots of challenges. There can be a lot of challenge. The language can be a challenge, because I know for myself, I have this whole fantasy in my head about really, really knowing the local culture, really understanding it, having like a host of local friends. And I do, but it's a different vibe, and sometimes I'm just kind of like frustrated because I want to be able to understand more. You can feel a little bit like isolated at times, not in our groups, but trying to, kind of like go beneath the surface with the local culture. And if someone can't communicate with you, or for example, I was invited a few years ago to hang out with a group of local women. I had the best time. I really had the best time. Their conversations, and they were so kind because they kept kind of going into English, switching over to English for me. And we were talking, and I understood like a lot of what they were saying. And I just had such a great time with them. And I remember feeling that sense of, you know, these could be like my girlfriends back home, right? So I was able to kind of be a part of something that was familiar to me. But then there was still the language challenge. And I remember thinking like, oh, I would love to do this more often, you know, and then sometimes I think we get comfortable and complacent with the people we can communicate with, because I really feel like that's the only barrier that exists in the world. It's not our skin color, it's the language, right? That's to me the ultimate, you know, it's how we are treated, of course, sometimes because of our skin color is true. It exists, but I feel like the real, you know, differences are our language, is our culture, how we understand things, how we communicate. So it was just it was a fun night. You know, this was pre-COVID, haven't reinvented that night again, but you know, one of the ladies, I'm still good friends with her. We did the Temet Skull, Yolanda, that she was one in the group, and she's just fun. I love her. I love her so much. She's Mexican, and I love the way she speaks English, and I love her. Everything about her. She's just a fun human being and super kind and super sweet. And they're also loving and just like wanted to make sure I was having a good time. And I did. And their conversation, they were cracking me up. They had a lot of questions about, you know, our culture and food and things like that. So I enjoyed myself. Lorraine, yes, festivals and dumplings and fried dumplings. Oh, yes, I love Jamaican food. I really do. I'm so happy that I grew up with this in my house on a regular basis. Yeah, let's see. Oh my God. Yes, we were cutting up, Kim. We certainly were. We had a good time. I think we only stayed there for about 1 hour, maybe. I would think about an hour. I was invited to go last night, but I did not. I was like, my body is recovering, still recovering 1 week later. It was good. It was certainly a good impromptu, unplanned evening. And if you are in San Miguel or you're coming to San Miguel, as of right now, I believe Civil is performing there. It's called Chin Annie's. I'm going to put it in the chat. And she's performing there, I believe, every Tuesday. And I don't know the time. Tuesdays, I think it starts at 5, maybe 5 to 7 p.m. Yes, we did turn it up. We turned it up and out. It was funny because when we walked in, you know, all the front tables were full and a lot of the expats were just sitting down and, you know, they're all like clapping and whatever. And then a couple of us, we heard a song we knew and we had a few drinks in us because we started at another restaurant. And we're like, yes, that's my song. You know, when you hear your song, got to get on the dance floor. I have no shame about dancing. I love dancing. So we all just like jumped out of our chairs and we went out there. And then Shalisa had her own thing going to one whole song by herself and she was dancing away. It was just fun. It was a lot of fun. Those are the times when I love, you know, these unplanned parties. Even though it was early in the evening, that was enough. Yes, start warming up now, do some stretches, you know, stretch the hip a little bit. That's one thing I do miss here. If we're going to talk about things we miss, I think I mentioned this in one of my other lives. I miss dancing. I really miss going to a Caribbean party. So I recreated a Caribbean party at Casa ELM back in on Thanksgiving night. Yeah. And I know it was a little loud, but we did do that Thanksgiving night back in November. And it was a lot of fun. You know, I hired a DJ, I gave him my playlist. Yeah, you know, we started earlier because I didn't want to like be too obnoxious in the neighborhood, but it was a lot of fun. I think that that's something that's, I say, needed here. I miss hearing the music that I enjoy dancing too. Whatever that is, you know, I know there are places here in terms of, you know, for example, when we went out last week, it's like singing, a little dancing, but it's not like, you know, dance floor full, lights turned down, lights going, you know, disco, whatever, lights, you know, rolling around. It was just, it's someone performing, which was amazing. You know, she's amazing too, not knocking that. But I missed getting dressed up to go and have a night of dancing. And I don't want to say partying because I don't know. That's for the younger folks. Nothing wrong with that. Hi, Shalisa. Welcome. Oh, thank you. Yes, dancing was healing. It was amazing. It was so much fun. But I miss that. You know, I miss the music I love to listen to. I love reggae, Caribbean, jazz, you know, things like that. Again, they do have these things here, but not in the same setting as what I'm used to, you know. Kind of like going in, you know how we do it, you know, we go out like gotta get our hair done, get our nails done, and then, you know, want to go somewhere, even if it's like a jazz thing that you can just go and hear some really good jazz music with the band, live band, and somebody singing. So Danielle sings jazz and she's kind of like working some stuff out. I know that they had a concert at a place called, I think, La Europa or just Euro or Cafe Europa. That's the name of it. And she had a sold out show a few weeks ago, back in March, I believe. So just saying, it's coming. You know, I've had other people say to me, oh, you should do like a concert or something at Casa ELM. And I'm like, yeah, you know, that's a good idea. You know, who wants to help put it together? So there are things that we're going to start doing. Stacy's making some plans. We're going to have, I believe, Stacy, you can chime in, an all white happy hour or dinner coming up or something like that. You know, we're trying to be a little more regular with our group get-togethers and stuff like that here in SMA. We still do them, but they're not consistent. So, you know, there's a lot of things that are happening in the town, but then there's also a lot of things that are happening, you know, at Casa ELM. So yeah, you know, so that's kind of like, I think that all of the things that really people experience at Casa ELM is what makes it feel kind of more connected and why people really kind of feel like, oh, okay, you know, I can go off, I'm an alumni now and I'm gonna get my place and I'm gonna settle in. So yes, okay, all white brunch. Okay, an all white brunch, y'all. You know, we like stuff like this, right? I think it's going to be beautiful. And that's coming up. I don't remember the date that we talked about. If you remember, if we don't have one, then I guess we shouldn't say it just yet. But I think we were talking about doing that. Hi, Jessica. Yes, it's going to be fun. We'll definitely capture that for sure. Let's see, what else do we have happening over something? Oh, I think I read that already. Yeah, so we're planning on doing one of the reasons to get cute. Exactly. Yes. Yes, let's do it. I have an all white outfit that I can blow the dust off of. So let's do it. I'm excited. Sunday, April 23rd. There you go, guys. For ladies, mostly ladies. If there are any guys in here, please feel free to chime in and say something. Someone asked me last week about dating. I don't know. I'm usually talking to my ladies. At the restaurant, I'll post an invite to our Facebook group. Great. And we'll post it here. Let's like remind me, because you know, Stacy, you know me. I'm always saying stuff and then I don't remember stuff. Stacy and Brianna know me well. By the way, let me have a sip. So we're going to be having this and then I believe something else possibly in the beginning of May. So if you're here, live here in town, planning to come, then mark your calendar. We don't have the exact time yet. The place that's called the restaurant that's the name. Okay. So it's not us trying to decide where, it's called the restaurant. I know you do. Thanks, Stacy. Thank you. So I'm really excited about all the things that are coming this year, and just the things that we're promoting, the people that are coming and sprinkling their beautiful seasoning into the community here in SMA. It's really amazing. I am so grateful to be a part of that. I'm really grateful for all of you that come here every Wednesday to hear me chitter chatter about stuff. Just, yeah, like I said, missing a home is real. I think continue to bring, like things that are familiar for you, whether it's, what do you like to do, right? Do you like art? I have several friends who are artists. They brought their art, their stuff, their paints and their brushes, things that they've done in the past. I have people who create, and I say I have people that I know that have, that create things. There's this amazing couple, they create so many amazing things that are artistic. Their hats are amazing. And they're coming in, and we have another young lady. She's just also came. She's been here for a little bit over a month now. And, she's also talking about what she can do. And I feel like that's where we have to kind of gain our footing and set roots into a new place, bring some of our past with us, the good stuff, and recreate your space. Honestly, for me, people ask me about shipping versus starting all over. I always tell people that's your choice. I chose to bring things because one of the main reasons was I wanted it to feel like what I was used to at home. And I say used to, meaning I wanted this space in Mexico to look similar to the space I had in terms of decor back in Florida. I didn't want to start all over. I have things that I've had for a long time. And I thought it would be kind of off kilter, kind of like, I don't know, I just thought it would throw me off to have to run around and start all over, right? And although it costs money to ship things, I feel like it was actually cheaper than me selling or getting rid of everything, coming here and spending a lot of time and a lot of money trying to, recreate or whatever. Now, there are a lot of houses that are already furnished. We've talked about this before in other videos. You can go back into my other lives to hear about cost of living and all these other things, rents and blah, blah, blah. But I thought it would be more expensive to start all over and my time. And, one of the things I felt would kind of help me feel and my family feel kind of more grounded was having some familiar things in my space. So when I look around my house, there are things that I brought with me that I've had for 25 years. And I like those things. So I didn't want to just get rid of them. Like not everything. Okay. I downsized a lot. And I feel still the same. I still feel like there's still a lot I can downsize. I don't have, I don't have like clutter and things like that. I just, brought stuff like this piece of furniture wasn't expensive. I, didn't pay a lot for it, but I bought that when Micah was born. So I brought it with me. I can use it. I use it all the time. There's stuff in it. It's like a storage thing. This 3-panel thing, I use it on the wall. I use it here in my meetings all the time to kind of, enclose my little space. I just have, those sticks up there. I've had for a long time. That vase I've had since I lived in Dallas in 2002. So the point is it's a personal choice, but having that really helped me feel as if, I'm in a space that looks familiar. So, that helps a lot when I know a lot of women come and they like to decorate like myself, and they want to create their space. And a lot of times it's kind of hard to start all over, right? Um, it's just one of those things that I think, you have to really like sort through, like, what's my personality type? What am I like? What's important to me? Do I just have some things? Am I going? Some people are just like, I'm going on to a whole new chapter. I'm retired. I just want to travel. I don't care about that. I just need a space as comfortable place to live. But it's my base. I want to move around. I want to store my things here. I want to sleep here when I'm in town, but I also want to move around. That's okay. Whatever makes you feel connected to things that you need to be connected to, that's okay. Thanks, Yolanda. Yes, please don't forget to like my video. It helps me a lot. I literally got a notification from YouTube probably a month ago that says, congratulations, you've had over 100,000 views on your videos. And I'm like, yeah, but I have 2,700 subscribers now. Thank you all for subscribing, but it's just kind of like, people are watching, they're taking in the content. So please, yes, do subscribe. If you come here multiple times, it helps. It really helps. Like this is something I really enjoy doing, but it is work. It is work and time. And I really love sharing my life here and talking to you all about things that I think are important, that will help your journey if you decide to move abroad or want to move abroad, like where to start, where do I start, what do I do? So for me, it's a pleasure and a blessing to share, so it's real easy to just hit the like button and subscribe. All right. And share my videos with anyone that might mention Mexico. Tell them there's San Miguel in the mountains. Don't forget that we are in a big country. So let's see what. So another point, and you guys can jump in at any point that you have a question about whatever, we don't have to just stay on this, but I'm just talking. Another thing is, I think we kind of get wrapped up in maybe a lot of us saying, okay, I'm really going to miss my friends. I'm really going to miss my family. But I also think it's important to think about, am I seeing them that much? Am I really hanging out with them? Honestly, I remember being in Connecticut, and this was way back. So I grew up in Connecticut, and I think I left in 2000, right? So I've been gone for 23 years. But while I was there, like 96 to maybe 2000, I had a home and a yard and all these things, to have parties. And we did, we would have get-togethers and stuff at our house. But I remember in between just not really seeing people, not seeing my friends, not hanging out, whatever, because we're all busy. My mom was really into her work. My brothers, we're all trying to like make it. I was in school, but working full time. So it's kind of one of those things where the point simply is that, we kind of, I think, internalize a lot of things. The fear of moving, the fear of being somewhere else. What if this, what if that, and sometimes you just got to go out there and try something or do something. Like you can't stop your chapters just because someone wants to project things on you. And this is also you projecting on yourself. It's like, okay, you know what? Maybe I don't know what it feels like to live in another place, but I've always been interested in trying this on. Go do it. Like at least say you gave it a try and an effort, right? You're not always going to be, with your friends and doing everything with your friends. Your friends aren't always going to support. Your family's not always going to support that. And you don't want to wake up one day and you're not able to physically go and do, right? You don't want to have those kind of regrets. So even though we will miss things, I do think that when we're open to receiving, it comes back around. I feel like there's so much to experience in life and in this world that sometimes you just want to be sure that you don't have those moments of, I wish I did this, or I really want to go here, I really want, but I didn't go. Nowadays, it's so easy to connect with so many people that can, go with you, or you can join in a group, right? There's so many groups, especially women. Women are out there. We're out here, ruling the world with our travel and our adventures and whatever. Last week, one of the things we talked about in one of the sessions was, seeing yourself as when we were younger, right? And connecting with that. And it was such a beautiful, visual to have in our meditation, moment of meditating. And it was like, try to remember yourself when you were a child, like how you were adventurous or what you saw that child as, and how you bring those two things together. I know I always loved the idea of travel, National Geographic, that's what we had, right? There was no internet and YouTube and all that. So I would look at these magazines and I would be like, man, these pictures are awesome. I always love photography. So the point is now we can actually, see what's it like to be in the place? What's it like to be here? And and it's like, I think if you always have that desire to either try living abroad, even if you say, what do I do at my house? Just try it out. If you're retired or close to retire, or you're in a position to do it, like, okay, you know what, I'm going to try to maybe rent my home. I'm going to let a family member stay there for 6 months. And I want to go to these 2 or 3 places, right? Of course, you're going to be homesick a little bit, but you're also going to expand, and there's going to be so much growth. There are going to be things that are challenges, things that you probably will be like, you know what? I don't like it here, period. I've been to places where I'm like, me, I had a good time, but would I spend my money to go back? Probably no. But I still grew. I grew, I expanded, I grew. I also grew as a person to learn how to manage the things that are inconvenient, right? Inconvenient to what I'm used to or what I was used to, So I think it's important to, to really tap in to these things, right? Maybe one day just sit down and say, you know what, I really want to be here. I really want to try this out, and do it. Don't wait for other people, right? Tomorrow is not promised to us. I told my son this, I can't get back 5 seconds ago. I can't get back an hour ago. I can't get a week ago back, so I'm always like being as present as possible. That was one of my things in the retreat for myself. I kept saying, trying to be more present, try to be more present. Stop thinking so far out and running around. And I'm busy all the time, but be more present, right? Be more like, what are my intentions for today? And what are my intentions, and why am I in this space, and where am I trying to be, right? I think all of that just kind of helps keep it in balance, check and balance. So thank you, Shalisa. Oh, I appreciate that. Yes, I have not. Okay, so these amazing, beautiful women that were there last week told me I need to set up Cash App. I do not have a Cash App account. And they were telling me that, and I didn't know this, whenever I get a super chat, that Google takes a very high percentage. I didn't know that out of whatever someone might give. So they were saying, do this, do that. Other people are doing this. So I haven't done it. I'm going to try my best. If Stacy's got my back, to do this by next live, okay? That's what I'm going to try to do. I appreciate you all. And yes, it would be nice to have a donation where half of it's not going to a company that can clearly afford to stand on its own two legs. Yolanda Great Plant Been Home. Monday ain't nobody for me. Yes, Yolanda, I feel you. You know, it was the same. I mean, you know, I had more people probably kind of that I was closer to when I lived in Connecticut, but I still done a lot of my own, you know, in Florida. Yeah, same. I had X amount of friends that I could count on one hand. And since I've moved, I think I have 3 people in Florida that I keep in touch with. And I lived there for over 10 years. And I can honestly say that here, there are definitely more people who do check on me and we check on each other. You know, there really is, I don't know, I was saying to another friend today that I feel like we just kind of live in this like little bubble of paradise. And I'm very grateful for it. I feel like, you know, we're in Smurfville, right? Everybody's happy, like a blueberry muffin village. Anyway, but yeah, people, you know, I mean, I'm not saying your family doesn't care, but I think what it is that culturally, a lot of people are working. And the reason why a lot of people are moving is because they're tired, right? They're tired, they're drained, they're just tired. You know, it's like Monday through Friday, I'm running here, I'm running there, I'm barely getting home, I got to make dinner, I got to whatever. By the time Saturday rolls around, I got to clean the house, I got to do this, I got to do that, all these things, right? And then Sunday, maybe you'll have a dinner, or maybe you'll connect with a friend on Friday night, or whatever, right? Unless it's like a wedding or something bigger. I think it is just our culture in the US where we're super busy. And when you think about making friends, it's work, not in a negative way. It takes time, right? Because we already come with our, you know, stereotypes like, well, I don't know them. I don't know them yet. I'm going to get to know them. We get to know people at work. And sometimes, you know, you don't want those people at your house necessarily. You don't want them coming to your house, right? I know I didn't. I was always like, I'm being very selective about who's coming to my house. It just takes time. And I think the people that we are friends with was because we grew up together, right? That's time. We spent 4 years or more in college. That's time. We got to know them because we were in an intimate setting in a dorm room. That's time, right? When you're working, you got kids, you got a husband, you got a family, you got a dog, pets, whatever, it takes a little longer, right? Because we're always going. So people aren't always checking on each other because culturally we're overwhelmed, we're busy, we're tired, right? This is what the ladies of Exodus preach, taking a sabbatical, right? Taking a break. And I think that all of the, you know, meetups and things that are coming up and out of this is because we need to get back to being in touch with each other, right? We need to embrace that some more. I know I'm going into a little bit of a different lane, but it's what I feel right now in my spirit. So I'm going to preach to you a little bit, but I feel like, you know, we need to kind of embrace that slowing down and being in touch with humanity again, right? Not just constantly with our phones and electronics and all these other things, you know, it's being more present. And that for me is something that, you know, came up for me in last week's retreat. And so it's just kind of acknowledging that sometimes the pace is breakneck and we are overwhelmed and we're just kind of like, you know, juggling life. We're juggling life. So it's important. Welcome, Kenya. Thank you. Is there a community resource that tells about local groups? I Wanderlust is let's see, to answer your question, honestly, when you say, Lorraine, I'm addressing your question. Is there a community resource that tells you about local groups? I have Wanderlust. That's a good question. I feel that the groups that I keep seeing on Facebook, A lot of them are SMA based, but then there are a lot of groups that are women that are traveling, because they're in groups with other like-minded women who also want to travel. And I think, going on and looking up for like a solo travel group, if this is what you're referring to, is a good way to be in touch and find people who kind of want to do the same types of things that you want to do, right? In San Miguel, there are various groups. There are people who go hiking. There's like a group that gets together on Wednesdays, a group of women who are getting together to talk about being entrepreneurs. There are people who get together to paint. There are people who get together to go walking. There are people who get together to do volunteer services. There's a lot. And if there's something that's not there, I always say create it. I wish I could find a photography group. That's something that I've always loved and enjoyed, for a long time. I haven't found that. I'm not going to create it because I don't have time. But if someone creates it, please do let me know. But I think there's just a lot of information on Facebook in terms of going in maybe a local SMA group that's kind of more general and just doing a search and asking for whatever it is you might be looking for. And you might find it. There are people who go biking. There are people who do, I think, a Sunday hike every week, and they go to different places. And I think they only ask for like donations, not, you don't have to pay for a guide per se. And then maybe even the donations are going to, I don't know, a charity or something like that. So I do think that there's a lot here that you can get into in this regard. Let's see. If they travel and see what it's like, you can always go home. I agree, Yolanda. I feel that, travel expands your horizons in so many ways. For my 40th birthday, which is a long time ago, I went to, I always wanted to go to Thailand. So I did. I planned it for a few months, and I booked it and I stayed for a whole month, and I had a whole itinerary. Every day had something on it. I didn't necessarily stick to it, but I definitely, was able to get there. And then I went again. I was like, I want to come back. And I brought my mom and a good friend. And, I just learned so much. And it was definitely one of my favorite places, Thailand and Cambodia. The point is, sometimes that's one thing I never did. I never waited for somebody to come with me, ever. I just plan it. And if someone wants to come, they can join me, but I didn't plan it around someone coming with me. Just saying, I wouldn't be here if I waited for someone to plan it. It wouldn't have happened. Welcome, Patty. I just came to stay for a week in this and they couldn't get over how much American shop and buy. They say it's different in Mexico. I don't know. I mean, it depends on what they're buying. And when they say how much Americans shop and buy, I don't really know. Are they talking about shopping at boutiques and shops in Central? I don't shop there. I don't go downtown and shop, or I say downtown Central to shop. I like the boutiques. They're very nice. I think that when people come, they are probably looking, I know when I travel, like, for example, I was just talking about Thailand. When I traveled to Thailand, I like to shop because it was different from what I was used to seeing in the United States. So maybe, people come and they have the money. So, go for it. I don't know that probably culturally, I think we do spend a lot more than, locals as a whole. But I can tell you that when I go to cities in Mexico, they shop and buy just as much. It just depends on where you are. When I go over to Querétaro, any day of the week, it doesn't matter. if it's Monday morning at 11 or Saturday morning at 11. Costco's is like this, okay? And 98% of those people are Mexicans. And the lines are all the way up the aisles. I'd never experienced that in the United States. Go into Querétaro, go to Antilla Lifestyle Center. There's not a lot of us over there shopping. And it's a nice mall with all high-end everything. So I think it just depends on where you are, where you're going, and also where those, people that are making the observation, where they've been or gone or where they're from. So, yep. Yeah, Mexico City's awesome. I was there back in March, but I've been there before, but it's a great city. There's lots of everything. I was surprised even that weekend. Yeah, so that's not a good observation in my opinion. Maybe in San Miguel, we might see, no, I don't agree with that. I really can't agree with that. It's just us shopping. We don't keep Mexico in business. Just FYI, I think a lot of people might think we do, but we really don't. I go to rooftop restaurants that I only see, Mexicans hanging out, and they're high-end, expensive, young Mexicans, chic, nicely dressed and fancy and the whole nine. When I was in Mexico City, same. The day I got there, we ate at P.F. Chang's, and then there was a mall. I don't know the name of it. But we were right on Reforma, which is a very popular avenue if you don't know it. And the point is that the mall was packed, all the fancy stores. Yeah. And I was looking for a replacement for my a case for my AirPods, because I somehow lost my case, but I had the AirPods. And there was a Mac store. They were like, we don't have it, go to this other location. So the following day I went to this other location. They were like, we don't have it, go to this mall, a different mall. And I went to that mall, and I was just like, it was packed. I mean, people were rolling up in fancy cars. I don't even know where I was. I just knew I just knew that the Uber driver took me to this other place. It was like 20 or 30 minutes away. And it was just packed, people, like the guys are coming up, opening your car door that work there. I was just kind of like, I think in general, we have been sleeping on this country as people from other countries. We think, Mexico somehow really poor, and they're not. There's a lot happening here. There's a lot of people buying, there's a lot of people spending. And to be honest with you, I don't feel that we are the majority. We're just not. There are lots of people with second and third homes, and the way, they kind of like build up their wealth, and the way they kind of, work kind of as family units to create more wealth. It's pretty interesting. It's definitely a different culture in this regard. But yeah, I saw a lot of people shopping at the malls in Mexico City, and they were not foreigners. Period. End of story. Fancy as ever. And I was just like, okay, like even an Apple store, I had to wait to get help. There were so many people in there, and they were not us foreigners. I don't think I saw any foreigners at all. And even the other mall I went to, I took Micah to a Sky Zone, because he really wanted to go on a trampoline and jump around. Same. I was in there for 3 hours with him. Not one foreigner was in there with their kids. They were just jumping around playing. It's Sky Zone. Sky Zone's a chain. It's in North America, in the US, in Canada. I don't know where else, but they had one in Mexico City. They had one in Querétaro. So, yeah, I think that we add to the economy in a positive way, but we're certainly not keeping them afloat. They're keeping themselves afloat. And I saw this years ago when I went to Mexico City. way back. I don't even remember when. And I was so happy to see a Zara. I was like, oh, and I don't know why. I just thought somehow the shoes that I loved were going to be, and I still have them, were going to be less expensive. And oh, no, no, no. It was the same price as it was in South Beach in Miami. And everyone in the store was Mexican. Everyone. And they were shopping like crazy. And it was packed and the lines were long and the same. And it's like almost every store you go to IKEA. I went to IKEA when I was getting stuff for Casa ELM. All the bins of things that I needed were empty. I was like, where are all the curtains? They have the curtains on display, nothing. So the parking lot's full. So, just saying, like, we're not the only ones pouring into the economy. They definitely are doing that all by themselves. Yolanda, yes, definitely explore Mexico City. We will be doing kind of like a trip in September, and we'll be inviting people. You'll hear more about that in a few weeks, to join us. I really have every intention of trying to share Mexico and take the fare out of Mexico in general, take the fare out of places to visit. Don't get me wrong, it's always unfortunate when something negative happens because it really does. It sets us back. It really sets us back, and I say us because I live here, but it's such an amazing country. There's so many unique things to see and do. And honestly, the gem of Mexico to me is the people. There's always a rotten apple or apples, the same thing in the United States or in Canada or anywhere. There's always, rotten apples that spoil it for the majority, right? But to be honest with you, I've had the most hospitality, the kindest people here, people very helpful that they want to see you, whatever. And then it's also, I feel, positive about any time that I can give my knowledge or give back to someone locally. And I say give back, I don't mean just hiring to pay to do stuff for me. I mean, just even talking, like I talked to a couple of the ladies that are here and I know them, and we talk about business, it's a whole different perspective. I brought one woman home, I think it was Saturday, and I just thought to myself, man, she is tenacious, and I mean, it's the culture, and I said, okay, so how do you get from your house to the main road, which was like a mile and a half or 2 miles away? And she's like, oh, I walk, and I'm like, oh, like, okay, and I just thought to myself, like, you do what you have to do. They do what they have to do to survive, just like we do what we need to do. It's just a whole different, way. It's a different process. It's a different thing, but it's still surviving, right? It's still doing. So I can appreciate that. So for me, being here and being a part of that, it's like I realize, like, okay, whatever I can add value to, I will. I talk about business with her often, and I'd say, try this. She was telling me she was interested in learning how to be a masseuse. She always liked it. I said, okay, get with somebody locally. I don't know what the laws are here. Do you need a license and all that? I'm not trivializing it, but I was saying, you can start by learning on watching YouTube, like what's required, like learn about the body, things like that. Those are all free resources. And, we were talking a lot in business. I said, do what you're doing, but get your one client here, get your one client over there, hire someone that has, been doing it for years to give you a massage. So you know what that is, like a professional person, learn about it, So it's like the opportunities that we have access to, they don't necessarily have access to, but if they did, yeah, they would be doing just as well as we are, right? In general. And I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying a lot of times when people come from very small towns and villages, it's definitely a little bit more to push through the barriers and things like that. So it's always a positive thing to, share and share knowledge and information. So yeah. Yes, there's a lot of old money in Mexico. I experienced old money in Dallas. That was my first time. Maybe it was in Connecticut, but Connecticut's more conservative. Dallas, I was like, okay, everybody's got a nice car and a nice big house. And definitely old money here. Yes. So do you all have any other questions for me? I think I covered a lot in regard to, things you can do to take away some of the homesick feelings. I think in San Miguel, we definitely have that covered, right? We've got that covered. We do a lot. Yeah, we definitely do a lot. So if not, I'm planning to, and I don't know the exact date, but I'm planning to have kind of like a round table in probably, I don't know if we decided the end of the month or the beginning of next month, where we're going to have people who live here and we're going to sit down and we're going to talk, right? We got to figure out the logistics, the camera and the sound and all that other stuff. But we're probably going to do it at Casa ELM, and I'm going to invite probably 5 or 6 people to sit down. So I don't know if the format will allow us to take questions, but we're going to work it all out. But I think it'll be a good opportunity for the people that are here to kind of share their experiences. I know I did my one-on-ones before. I'm going to start slowly introducing some of that into my Wednesday lives and things like that. But I thought it would be really cool to kind of have more like a roundtable feel where we can talk to a lot of the expats that live here and they can share some of their experiences, people who've been here for a while, people who just came, within the last couple of months. And you can kind of get, their whys, why they chose SMA, where they're from. Our community is growing like wildfire, like weed, like weeds, I should say. So I think it's a good opportunity to be a part and ask questions. So do look out for that. Do, tune in. If you come to my channel, I will have post in the feed where I can share when that's coming, what we're going to talk about and things like that. So I feel like there was something else I was supposed to mention. Something else that I wanted to talk about. Oh, so we do have a Mother's Day thing coming up in May. So again, go to casaelm.com. And I think we have a few spaces left. If anyone's interested, we're going to do a vineyard, I believe vineyard tour and maybe some self-care things. And also for those who might see Kathy Hampton sometimes pop up, she's going to be doing a retreat in August. And I'm also having another Peace Not Pieces. So if you can find her online, I think it's wellsideretreats.com. She will be doing a retreat here in San Miguel at Casa ELM. So excited. And I know that she has a few people that are interested in it. She has her whole itinerary and stuff, but I'm just happy to host all you beautiful women bringing positive energy to Casa ELM and leaving positive energy behind. It helps. Trust. I love it. I feel it. Thank you so much. Yes, and drinks and conversation. Yes. Yes. If you're here, Lorraine, thank you. Yes, for sure. Well, every Wednesday here on my channel. But if you're physically here, we're gonna probably do this, trying to set it up where we can do it once a month. We can do it once a month. And you guys will be able to talk to people that are already here and what's their perspective. Mine is mine, but you can also get to see what other people's perspectives are. Yes, Wellside Retreats. Wellside Retreats. All right, you might have to do a search on it. Sorry, I never come prepared enough to type things in the chat. Sorry. Even when I'm talking about videos and chat, videos and pictures and stuff, I'm like, I should, share my screen or something like that. But yeah. All right, I think we're good. We're done for tonight, unless you have any other questions for me. I'll give you a few seconds. But thank you all, as usual, for coming here. Spread the word. Thank you for supporting me every Wednesday. I truly, truly appreciate you. If you miss a Wednesday, you can catch us on the replay. Feel free to ask questions in the comments on the replay. I try to check those every few days, when I have a chance. Don't forget to go to casaelm.com and see what we have coming up, all of our events for this year, and, just things that the house can hold. We have lots of cool things happening in San Miguel all the time. And we also have Black SMA. You can find us on Facebook, et cetera, et cetera. And all you lovely ladies that are on your way, safe travels. And those who are already here, I miss you so much. It's been amazing. I really appreciate you all. I send you so much love, peace, light, and good energy. And you all have an amazing evening. Thank you. And hopefully you'll be able to join us next Wednesday, okay? Wednesday, 6 p.m. my time, Mexico. Hit the like button, smash the like button. I appreciate you. Thank you. See. Okay. Mhm.